Welcome back to Shit Creek Survivors, where we share stories of resilience and tools for resilience. Now, this week, Dennis and I are going to be doing Buddy Check number 2. Buddy Check system is a great way to check on a friend and them check on you just to make sure that your life is still running in the right direction, still on the tracks, as well as theirs. We're also going to talk about Jocko Wilkins. He's got a little bit of information that we found super useful. The idea of if you were found yourself ever disoriented kind of in the wilderness, what he would do and why he would do it compared to just kind of standing there and waiting for something to happen. Anyways, let's get to it.
Jocko.
Hey, buddy. We got Buddy Check again. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, buddy. How are you doing?
How are you really doing?
How are you really doing? How are you really
I'm good.
doing? It's your turn to go first. You tell me something.
I'm good. You know, as we know, life isn't perfect all the time, and I'm not complaining either. It's just I think we're being more observant about what's going on around us nowadays. And had a couple situations with my medicine where things weren't getting approved and someone was dropping the ball. I couldn't figure out who it was. So I was like running around in circles. I'm like, how is this such a problem when you put me on the medicine? And every time I call the pharmacy or every time I call it's a medicine that's not yet hit the market. And, but it's like, I don't know, everyone's just so scared to send me the medicine when they've given it to me and it actually worked. So it's such a mind screw, but I really have to just be like, you know what? I just need to be a calm person in the situation as best I can. So
control your controllables.
Right. Because I've also had these conversations where I've got Kate on the phone and I'm playing bad cop in the back, like yelling, like, this is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Because I think they're going to think, well, I don't want to mess with him. Let's talk to her and get it done. You know what I mean? So I'm like trying to use these like tactical moves. And it's just like, afterwards, I just don't like being that guy. So even just that tastes bad at the end of it, although I got my way, but it's like I had to access this. And it just doesn't feel great. So I'm just noticing more and more that, controllables and uncontrollables and how I want to show up regardless of how someone else shows up. Because I've been trying to match everybody a lot. You know what I mean? You give me this, I'm going to give you that. I need to just be going out there and be like, I'm going to be Cameron. Like we talked about, just like I'm going to be Cameron. I'm going to go out today. I'm going to do my best. And if I can make a positive impact, let's do it. But what's really funny is I say that prayer, like maybe at the beginning of the day. And by the time I'm behind the wheel, I'm like, it's on. You know what I mean? Like no one better, And so I had to remind myself, and all that kind of stuff. And since we talked, our last buddy check, I was really kind of thinking about there. We had a lot of good nuggets in there. And,
I've been sharing those down here at the lake too, those nuggets.
Good.
Yeah, I'm down at the lake this week, by the way.
You're at the lake of these Ozarks.
Lake of the Ozarks. Yeah. At the Lake of the Ozarks. We're at an Airbnb. I'm with my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and my wife. She had to leave for 2 days to go back to work for a work thing. She's coming back again tonight. And then we have our 4-year-old nephew and 14-year-old niece.
All right. So you got some kids running around, having a good time, sharing their smiles, and you're like, okay, I shouldn't be taking this so serious.
Right.
At least
but
that's
it's
what
also, we're not used to kids around us all day long for a whole week. So there's some challenges there too. I mean, let's be honest. It is what it is. But I've been using some of those nuggets. And I got some stories to tell about that. But keep going. I'll come back to them.
Well, really quickly, I just don't want to lose track of it. I heard another story that kind of paralleled what we were talking about last week. Some people will get an F on a test and life is over because an F is a final situation, right? Well, another person will get an F on a test and be like, you know what? This sucks, but it's not happening again. I'm going to use this to my advantage. This isn't going to happen this semester again. This isn't going to happen this year. It's not going to happen in the following years, and I'm going to do my best and I'll use this for the rest of my life as motivation. And as a lesson that was learned, that I should always be putting my best foot forward. And Jocko, what's his last name? Wilkins? Jocko. Anyways, Jocko, you got anybody out there has probably heard of him. He's out there. He's a former military, like command staff member. And he would talk about kind of, how he would run his teams and leadership and all that kind of stuff. And he recently,
or about that guy.
Yeah, Jocko Willis, shaved head guy, jujitsu, like all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
He's got a podcast. I've seen a little bit of it, but I was actually watching a highlight of a clip from when he was talking, and he was explaining that having to do with resilience. He was talking to, well, he knew a guy, right? And this guy was doing really well in the teams and the military, really looked like he had a bright future even after the military. You know, a person you'd be like, this guy's on a trajectory for success kind of deal. And he ends up catching up with a guy, and it ends up being the complete opposite. He's like, my wife wants to divorce me. All my relationships are going to hell. I don't know what to do. I own my own company, which I've really worked hard on, but I'm probably going to have to sell my company to settle my divorce with my wife.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And Jocko's like, all right, well, what are you going to do? He's like, well, I'm probably going to sell it and start working at Home Depot. Just do what I got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Jocko's like, okay. And he kind of like started schooling this guy a little bit, right?
Right.
What he heard that guy saying, there's a couple different things that are going on here. He made an observation that it seems that nowadays when we get stuck in a situation, we get an F in a class. Instead of taking action, we tend to freeze.
Okay.
And although it feels like we're getting our bearings, we may not actually be getting anything done. And he explained it that if he were dropped in the middle of the woods, no orientation, has no idea even what continent he's on kind of deal. Yeah, he would stand in the woods wherever he was dropped off. He would see if he had a view, but say there's no view from an elevated position. Standing there and looking around will only do so much good.
Yeah.
He has to take action. And although it sucks, he doesn't know where he is, he's got to start walking. And a lot of people are like, no, stay in place. You don't know where you're at. He's like, no, I need to take action. And he starts saying that some of his training he would be able to use, right? So bringing up skills that you have to aid you in the moment to get you to where you're going. So Jocko knows very well that if he's standing somewhere and he notices that the ground is slightly tilted and there's a higher position and a lower position, he knows he's going to start walking down the hill. Because when he gets to the bottom of the hill, he's going to find some sort of stream, creek, something that's running the water down the hill. He's then going to use that to follow whatever that is, the creek, whatever it is, to a river. When he gets to the river, because he knows that's where the creek has to dump, he's going to follow the river until he finds a road that crosses it. When he finds the road, he's going to get on the road and he's going to start working the best way he can tell how towards a town. He doesn't know where he's going when he's on that mountain, but he knows that he has to take action to start moving things forward.
Right.
The longer he waits, the less supply he has, the less time he may have of daylight and all this kinds of stuff. So he knows to take action. So instead of it being like, oh, shoot, I don't know where I'm at. I'm totally disoriented. I got to sit down. I don't know what I'm doing. Someone's got to save me. He's like, no, I'm going to get moving. I'm going to find a low point. I'm going to follow that to the river. I'm going to follow the river to a road. I'm going to follow the road to a town. And I just thought that was really cool about taking action, right? The other thing he said is when his friend was talking to him and he said, I guess I'm going to have to sell the company and go work at Home Depot. He heard that guy saying Home Depot was a punishment when really it could be seen as an opportunity. Because if you're a really squared away guy, and Jocko said, if you put me at Home Depot for a week and a half and have me maintain one aisle, I'm going to have it the most squared away aisle in the store. Eventually, I'm going to do it so good that my boss is going to come to me and ask me if I can do the next aisle. I'm going to do that so well that eventually he's going to have me do 4 aisles. Then that's going to duplicate to 8. Now I'm in charge of the front of the store. Next thing you know, I'm in charge of the back. And before you know it, they're asking me to run the place.
Right.
So again, two perspectives. One saw working at Home Depot and the next step in his story as a punishment. The
Hmm.
other saw it as an opportunity to move and shake, be independent. You're not worried about the
Yeah.
divorce anymore. I mean, that was all
Yeah.
implied, but actually getting to work, owning it, and doing what you do best. If you can stay
Well, this is
square away everything around you, make your
yeah,
bed before you leave it, like all that kind of
yeah.
stuff. And I just thought
This
it
is
was super
exactly what
interesting.
you're saying all the time. Control your controllables.
Where do bananas learn to do the splits? Sunday school. But on a serious note, you should subscribe. That way we can reach more people. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Move a rock, whatever it is, right? But I think I thought about why you're saying that, that analogy with following the stream and the river to the road. He was making action. He had to take action. He knew that. That's smart. But he was also just not going anywhere. He was trying to make purposeful action,
Right.
or intelligent action or informed decisions, like, I don't know. There's a good
Mm-hmm.
word in here that's probably just at the tip of my tongue that I'm not quite gotten to yet. But yeah, it wasn't just move any
Like an
boulder or move any
educated
rock.
decisions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was your best educated guess kind of thing. Like you're trying to
Yeah.
decide, and it's supposed to have some sort of sense to it, and that made perfect sense the way you said it. Because my first reaction was thinking, no, go up the hill so you can see better.
Right.
It was my thought,
He
like so I
cleared.
could get a
He,
layout of the land. But
yeah.
maybe that would expend too much energy to go up. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It would still be a purposeful decision, and it would probably still benefit, and it wouldn't be like the bad one. It'd still be better than just sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting for somebody to come save you, which isn't happening probably.
But that's really, that's a good point, using your strengths, your strengths, weaknesses,
Right.
opportunities, and threats. But another thing it just made me think of, though, like, let's imagine it's flat.
Yeah.
At some point, you still have to choose a direction and start walking, whether it be right or wrong. That way, at least you're taking action. I know for a little bit, you need to orient. You need to figure out, do I have any strengths in this situation? What are my opportunities? What could I do? What do I know already that could help me here? But say all that's out the window, you're totally disoriented, you're in the darkness. Instead of staying where you're at, sometimes you got to walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I that's a scary thing, because that's always the point. I mean, that's always the hinge point. When a person,
Right.
like, they're waiting for the right time, and I'm so guilty of it, waiting for the right time, and or you wait till you're ready and before you take the action. And sometimes you'll, like, watch people like my wife. Like, I'll sit and ponder, oh no, what has happened? And she's running already in a direction to figure out what to do. She's already taking action. She's like programmed that way. I mean, she would be
Yeah.
great in a battle. You know what I mean? She's always taking action. But yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that
I just thought that
purposeful
was
action is a good way to say it, I think. I mean, I think I'm setting on that because if you're not thinking about the plan of action, like I said, going higher just so I could see, like the analogy you said, going down to
yeah.
find the water, those are purposeful actions. If you don't have a purpose for it and you're just acting, survival skills show that if you aren't, pick a point in the horizon, the right direction that you want to go, you can tend to go left a little bit. A human being can tend to go left or right, depending on which one's your dominant side, I guess. And what will
Mm-hmm.
happen is if you're not picking a point, like we would shoot an azimuth exactly the degrees north that we want to go, and you look through your compass and you find the biggest tree that is pointing at, you look at that tree and you keep walking to it. Then when you get there, you shoot your azimuth again,
Mm-hmm.
line it up with another terrain feature that you can identify, and then you walk straight
Yeah.
towards that. And the reason we do that, we also know our pace count. How many steps it takes to go 10 meters or 50 meters, so you can start keeping track of it. There's actually something called ranger beads too, and it's like a string with some beads on it. It could be different colors, and that's how you just kind of keep track of. Okay, every time I go 50 meters, I'm gonna click that up, start counting again, and click that up. That way, you're keeping
Okay.
track of your distance. You're keeping track of the direction that you're going to. It's very informed. Now, if you don't do that, you're tending to curve left or right depending on your dominant side, and what you'll do is you'll just do a big circle. And you've seen it in
Really?
some movies. Some people have done it in movies
Yeah.
like that, where they're like, "We're in the same spot that we just were at," It's because you tend to
Yeah.
walk in a circle without paying attention to it, and you will just do circles. So now your analogy, we could put this all together with religion and Jesus. We could put it together with just good common sense, karma, whatever. The chair beside you that's making better decisions than you. You got to make the good decisions because otherwise you're just going to be spinning your wheels and going in a big circle and staying lost.
I like it. It's so funny to like play with these things. Like if you've ever read any Stoicism, you know what I mean?
I'm
It
starting to a
literally
little bit.
it sounds like guys who've just been sitting down pondering stuff, and then they
Mhm.
realize, as time goes on, kind of like we're discussing, that worldly possessions mean way less than, the things that really matter.
Yeah, you
And
can't
it's
take it
weird how
with you.
isn't it weird that like when you actually have a little money that you could spend, you tend not to spend it on dumb stuff. Meanwhile, while you don't have money and you think you want stuff, you're like, oh man, if I had money, I'd buy this, I'd buy that, I'd buy this. And
Yeah.
then it's like, then you get the money when you're older and you're more mature, you're like, I don't want to spend it on that kind of stuff. And you're like, oh no, I'm my dad. Like I've turned in.
I actually have one that fits this, a story that fits this weekend as well. Riding
Let's
around on the
hear it.
Wave Runner, and like always, whenever I'm down at the lake with my wife, by myself, with friends, I'm always looking at houses and stuff, and I'll daydream a little bit if I won the lottery type of things too. And I feel like it used to always be like coveting what your neighbor has, kind of things that you're not supposed to do. Like I wish I had that. I wish I had that. But what I realized today, or this weekend, because I had my niece with me, and she asked me something, or I said something like, "Isn't it pretty to look at these houses?" And she goes, "Yeah." I forget how she says it, kind of envious or jealous, or she didn't say it that way. She said something like, "Kind of makes you wish you could have it." I said, "Not really. I'm not really going for that because that has tones of jealousy and envy, and those are negative emotions. And I don't want to concentrate on negative emotions. I want to concentrate on positive emotions. So I feel
Right.
like now." I'm looking at these houses and admiring their beauty, similar to going to the zoo and admiring the beauty of a tiger. I'm not going to get in the cage with the tiger. It'll maul me to death. I don't want to own a tiger. It would maul me to death. But I can sit there and admire the beauty of nature, of an animal, of people, without having to be envious and wish I had that. And it was just like a little turning point in my own brain that I feel like I've
Yeah.
been having for a while now, but I was able to put my finger on it in that moment. And I kind of had an all moment to myself, like, okay. And hopefully it hit her too a little bit, and she can keep that with her. And
It sure is amazing the magic that these kids bring, because it's just a spontaneous utterance. So just like,
yeah,
you just hear it and you're like, huh. And for some reason, if you hear someone like a child say something like that, you're like, it reminds you, you're like, oh, no, 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 you shouldn't look at it like that,
right.
But, and it's a reminder to yourself. You're almost like, whoops, like
Because we could say
I've
the
been,
exact same thing at the same time about the same house and actually have completely different intentions unless we explain it to each other where it's coming from. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And then dissect it and
yeah,
break it down and then clarify it. And then we're just kind of refining it ourselves, like we've talked about before with the silversmith. We're just refining it, just refining the
yeah,
thoughts, refining the emotions, and refining the variables, the balls of perspectives. You're just
yeah,
clarifying it. That was good.
yeah,
I got another story with her if you're
absolutely.
ready.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, this is a good one, man. I mean, I get goosebumps telling this. I got goosebumps telling it to my wife after I got home, and to my sister-in-law after I got home, and I think I'll get goosebumps again today. It was just so perfect. It really was the way it all played out, and I couldn't have written it any better. So we go to a a bar restaurant here with the pools for the kids to be able to swim and stuff, and get a little break from just swimming in the lake.
Yeah,
We have problems with the wave runner going there. Something's starting to mess up with it, so we limp over there. I'm taking time to look up problem solving, troubleshooting it. I'm going out there and working on it. It's really, really hot, so I'll come back in the shade, sit in the water, sit in the water and chug water. They're
Yeah.
playing a little bit, but she kept coming over and kind of like asking if she could come help me. Now, you really
Who's
don't want to.
she?
It's my niece. Sorry,
Oh,
it's
okay.
another story with my 14-year-old niece.
Okay.
And she is my wife's brother's child. My wife's brother passed from a fentanyl overdose about 10 years ago, I think, or 8 years ago. I can't remember exactly the time frame, so I
I
apologize if I
remember.
got the dates wrong. But so I'm here now with my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, who that was her brother and her son, or her son and her brother, respectively. So I mean, she's connected with bloodlines to them, I guess. I'm married into the bloodlines part of it, but I even said that once to her. She said, "You feel like you're blood to me." And I said, "That's a great, you make my heart patter there. Thank you very much for that." But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you don't want to go over there. It's hot. It's boring. I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with it so we can get back home when we're done swimming. And she's like, okay, I just don't really want to swim. I'm like, bro, like have fun. We're here. Enjoy the now. Like I know you want to go fishing and you want to be on the wave runner right now, but like enjoy the now. Like, and I'm starting to get a little irritated with her a little bit
Yeah.
because it went on so many times and I was repeating myself so many times and I was distracted by trying to figure out what was wrong with the wave runner. She sits down beside me in the shade. She's like, okay, I just, like you could tell something was bothering her. And, uh, and all of a sudden it clicked on me. I need to ask her, like, what's going on? Are you okay? And she breaks down and she's like, all these girls are just, it was a body image thing. All these girls are
Mm.
just, skinnier than me and they're looking at me and they're making fun of me. I said, did they say anything? No. Are they pointing fingers? Yes. Okay. Well, but you don't know what they're thinking. So oftentimes we do this as adults, and we've talked about this or as humans, and we've talked about this on the podcast. We're our own worst enemy sometimes. The thoughts in our heads can go around and go around. It can be negative and negative. It can spin out of control. It's those uninformed decisions of movements that just go circles and circles in the woods and doesn't get you anywhere. She didn't. I
Right.
didn't. I'm just putting that together now. And I go, well, you don't know exactly what they were thinking. They might have been saying that you had a really pretty swimsuit on. They might have been talking about how pretty your eyes are because she has very pretty eyes. She's like, they can't see my eyes. I have glasses. She's a 14-year-old, so I still get the 14-year-old angst from her responses sometimes. Ugh, they can't see my
Right.
eyes. That little sassy attitude. Sorry, Brooklyn, if you're watching. Um, sorry, not sorry. We're not supposed to say sorry so much. And so my heart just kind of melted a little bit. And I'm like, you have to control what you can control. You can't believe what they think about you. You need to be happy with yourself. You need to tell your things that you would tell other people because she has such a big heart. When we're talking to strangers and they act sad or whatever, she gives them good advice. She tries to tell them to cheer up. I was like, why don't you tell yourself that? It's just too hard. And I go, I agree. It's not easy, but it's the right thing to do. You have to choose how you respond to things. You are born with that authority and that power to choose how you respond to situations and stuff. Use it. Don't let them take that power away from you. Don't give them that power to take that happiness from you. It's not worth it. First off, you don't know who they are. You're never gonna see them again. Just have fun. Just have fun in the water, in the sun, with your cousin, and try to enjoy the now. And when we're done here, we'll go have more fun on the wave runner, and we'll go get food somewhere, and we'll enjoy the nows then. She kind of started to come around and feel a little bit better about it. And she got back in the water and played a little bit. I got the wave runner fixed. Um, we go out, we get on the wave runner. It's about an hour later, we're done. The other wave runner with my mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and nephew decided to drive straight back to the house that we're staying at, and then they got a towable for the 4-year-old to sit on while they pull him really slow because the 14-year-old wants to go a lot faster than the 4-year-old, of course. So I said, Brooke just stays
Right.
with me. We're gonna go have some fun on the wave runner for the next couple hours. And sure, it kind of
Yeah.
clear our minds from me having to fix the wave runner and you having the anxiety attack that you had. I took her out to my old lake house that my dad had for like 20 or 30 years, and she had been there before when she was younger, so she kind of remembered it.
Hmm.
Drove by a little island that's outside of the cove, right by the main channel of that cove where my dad's house was at. And I remember so many memories of this island. We would drive out there on wave runners and have a rope swing or have like a little party, just some teenagers when I was younger. And I told her at one
Yeah.
time I even took a girl there for like a date when I was like 14 or 15, her age. You know, we took some soda pops and a little barbecue grill and did some hot dogs, and we just sat there on the island for the day and chatted and talked. And she goes, "Wow, that sounds like that would be a really good date." And I said, "You're a princess. You better not take anything less than that." And she's like, "Shut up, you know." But you know, you're a princess. You deserve that too. Get it. You
Yeah.
don't settle for anything less than that. So I'm trying to do all those kind of things. And she's cheered up.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go to the gas stop to get gas. And we pull up in the gas stop to get gas. We're right across the cove now from the Airbnb. So now we come back. It's about 2 hours later. And the gas attendant girl seemed kind of down. She's like, "Hey, you know," and I was like, "Long day?" She goes, "Yes, I'm here from 9 to 9, yesterday and today. And it's
Ooh.
hot and I don't really want to be here." And I'm like, man, I mean, life's hard sometimes, you know, I get it. Try to put a smile on your face, try to cheer up, you know, whatever. And then Brooklyn goes off, "Control your control," and, you know, cheer up and, you know, saying some tidbits. And I'm like, look at her go. She's just running off with it. We get gas. We go into the restaurant area to use the bathroom. We come back and we went into the gift shop to look at some stuff there just for whatever. And then we get back down the Wave Runner, and the gas girl is helping to fill up another boat. She asked if we need help getting the Wave Runner off. I said, "No, we won't, but you know, have a great rest of your day." And this woman, I mean, just 20-year-old girl or whatever old she is, the gas dock girl, looked right at Brooklyn and goes, "I just want to tell you, you were very nice talking to me, and I love your swimsuit."
That's amazing.
I said those girls at the bar at the restaurant could have been just looking at your swimsuit because it is pretty. And now this random
Yeah.
stranger 2 hours later said, "I was just noticing that you have a really pretty swimsuit." And I
Yeah.
kind of tapped Brooklyn. I go, "See?" And she goes, "Shut up. I heard it." But it was a great full circle moment. How, I mean, you can't write that up. And it made her feel
No.
good. It made me feel good. It made me feel like I was a glove. I
Yeah.
was the glove. I was filled with the Holy Spirit. I was used for a purpose. All the positivity. I spun it in a positive way. It affected her positively. She got to see it in action, actually work,
Yeah.
speaking things into existence. She got to see it actually work. And there's a little part of her started to believe in it now. And while she'll
Yeah.
have troubles, you know, she's a teenager. She'll have troubles rest for a while now until she grows up a little bit more. And I bet you one day when she's in her 20s or 30s, that comes back to her and clicks. And
Hmm.
it's just a seed that was planted that someday
Yeah.
is going to be a big shade tree for her that I might not even get
And
to
she
see it.
and she's already teaching it to people.
Yes. Well, she's
Do
always
you
been
know what
this
I
way.
mean? Like,
It's not just me. She's always been a little. She has such a good heart. She wants to help people. She wants to be nice to people. Um, but then she'll get in a bad mood or anxiety will hit her, and then she'll be almost just as the other direction with anger and anxiety sometimes. And some of it's teenage angst. Some of it could be, you know, trauma from losing her father when she was really young.
right.
All those things. It could be something else that I don't know about, but I did
Yeah.
my part to push her kind of in the right direction and give her some purposeful actions.
And how that make you feel?
Well, it made me feel good, but I have to remind myself not to get cocky about it, not to be too prideful about it, because it's not me really doing it. It's somebody else working through me. I'm just the glove made in his
That's a
image.
good that's a good distinction. But what I'm saying is, since you were the glove in that situation, when you get to
I,
be the
I felt
glove
like I had a
and
good
like
purpose, and
yeah,
I
and
need that
like
right now.
and like magic happens and it's not even coming from you and you're like, holy smokes, you know what I mean? That's when I like hit my knees sometimes. I'm like, I'm such a fool, thank you for using me. You
Yeah,
obviously, you know what I mean? Like, what an honor to be the person that gets to be used to help others. What an honor.
absolutely. I
You
mean,
know,
because
like it.
you're getting to see it firsthand too.
Yeah.
And now the Wave
So
Runner broke
some
again, and I'm not overreacting to it. I'm not going, "Dang, the whole weekend's ruined," because this is the third time now it's broke down. It's whatever. We got other things to do. Let's just enjoy the now.
Yeah. Perspective, baby. We talked about that last week. Like, just your perspective shifts your world. If you see
Mhm.
today as glass half full, today will be half full. If you see
Hmm.
today as glass half empty, today will be half empty. It's the power of perspective. Like,
Hmm.
is this the thing that is coming towards me because I'm being punished, or am I being refined? Am I
Yep.
being picked on, or have I been picked? And
And it could
something
be
that,
either, but if you think about it as being refined, then you're automatically controlling your controllables more into a positive direction. You're trying to stay positive. You're looking for the silver lining.
yeah, you can literally in those moments, if you know that you're being broken and that there's a purpose, you can actually lean into it, be like, break it all, baby. Let's just get it done.
Yeah.
Like if it sometimes, but other things, they hit you kind of out of left field. Now, one of the things that, your niece story popped out to me, and it's, you know, straight from a child's lips to the world. And I think it really reflects what a lot of us do.
Oh yeah.
And we forget that we get to choose who we are. We are actually, if you think about it, the main character in our own story. And I
Yes.
don't know why I keep making that main character like look, for some reason I want to cast the main character as like, oh, he's screwed up and he's earning his way back. You know what I mean? But that's not the way we should look at life. Like, life is today. Like, it's not yesterday. It's actually right now. And the idea that I get to decide and I can take action in my life and to push towards being that person and being that main character. There is no greater story. You don't go see a movie like Rocky without Rocky falling down. If Rocky was all
Right.
about just beating someone up, there'd be one movie, maybe two. The first one, anyways, anyway. So
I hear
I'm
what you're
just
saying.
saying,
I get the direction you're going. I mean, I hear it.
yeah, and it's basically you are the main character, and if what's so cool about being, if you are right now in a bad place, is those are the movies you want to watch. You want to
Hmm.
watch the guy dig out of a hole, because you know what? Most of us can relate to it. They want that feeling. They want to rise to the occasion and be like, I'm no matter what, I'm not giving up on me. Everyone else
Right.
can just stay over there, and I'm not giving up on me. I'm going to keep pushing to be my best, and if that's what I can do and that's my controllable, then that's what I can do. Like we talked about last time, the idea, the last time we did a buddy check, the last time, uh, uh for a long time I had a crisis of identity, because when people ask me who I am, I'd say I'm a police officer. Even after I was a
Right.
police officer, I'd say I'm an injured police officer. You might even say you're a retired police officer, but like, I have to realize I'm not a police officer. I mean, that's not who I am,
Hmm.
whether I am, or like whatever. That's just not who I am. I'm Cameron, you know,
Hmm.
and I'm doing my best to be a good man. And the byproduct of being a good man is, not only do I know that I'm putting it all on the table, again, if you're the main character in a movie and you're playing the last game, leave it all out on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, make it a heroic story, right? Make
And
it
you're
the
gonna have the
crazy.
happy ending from it. Like you're gonna have the. That's this it's mind blowing. Last night we were watching a movie. What were we watching? We were watching What Happens in Vegas. Ashton Kutcher and Cameron Diaz. I actually went to school with Cameron Diaz's cousin in Marshall, Missouri. Actually, it's a
All
small
right.
world. Anyway, and I make this comment in front of my sister-in-law, my niece, and my mother-in-law. I'm like, I miss movies having happy endings. It seems like movie writers and producers got into this big kick of making everything like surprising you, or like a surprise ending and a negative ending or a
Yeah.
dark ending, or just to be different because like everybody got tired of making happy feel good movies. I guess I get it because they wanted to do something different, but it started a trend, and a lot of movies were that way, and I just never really liked it. It
Yeah.
was a big turnoff to me. I don't care if I know how it's going to end because we even said like, oh, they're going to end up back together. My niece said that. She's like, they're going to end up staying together because have you watched the movie before? What Happens in Vegas?
Yeah. I think I have. They win a jackpot, but then they
Yeah,
have
they get
trouble.
drunk, get married. They win the jackpot as they were deciding they needed to break up. Then they both wanted to fight over the money. Instead of right then just splitting the money and going their separate ways and both getting 1.5 million, they both got greedy and wanted the 3 million to themselves.
Hmm.
But yeah, so they're fighting now. The judge orders them to 6 months. They got to live together and go to therapy and counseling and try to work on their marriage, to take their vows seriously and all that stuff. But as soon as you hear that, the 14-year-old's like, they're gonna stay in together. And I'm like, yeah, probably, but I want to see how it happens. I don't care that I
Hmm.
know how it ended. I want to see. I want to experience the joy of that happy ending,
Yeah.
movie happy ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
There,
we're gonna
there,
have them. They're gonna be. It's your story had its trials and tribulations, some really bad ones, and it's a very interesting one to listen to, and it's one of the reasons why some people listen to this podcast because you shared that story. But
yeah.
yours ends with joy, a good ending. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a good movie with a good ending. You just got to get there. Where are you at it? You're in the middle of that movie right now, so you have
Yeah.
a couple more
And
trials and tribulations.
well, thank you for saying that because when so that first year didn't go well. Um, and then I got sober like a year and a half after, and things weren't great. And I was introduced to a guy who had PTSD because I thought that would be a good thing to meet someone with PTSD, right?
Yeah.
And this was an officer who had to take someone's life because someone had the drop on his partner, which was like a rookie. Someone was coming up behind her with a gun. He shot her. It affected him. His department really didn't help him out, and it kind of like everything fell apart on him. And he was filled. He was very upset about it, and he was so when I talked to him, I think it was 10 to 20 years after his event. I know that's a long skew, but it could be 10, it could be 20. I can't remember which one it was. But when I talked to him, I could tell his wound was so fresh. And it
Hmm.
wasn't that he had to take someone out. It was, well, I think part of that, but more that when he was injured by that event, his department he believes turned on him. And I was there too for a long, long time. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying this is what was happening with him, but what I knew is that if I continued down a road of anger and looking for revenge and all that kind of stuff, my life wasn't going to get better. It was
Hmm.
actually going to get worse. Sobriety, I knew was going to be really, really hard. I was also really afraid, and we've talked about it before. Like, what if all of a sudden, I've had enough head injuries where I could potentially have brain damage? What if something happens and I'm predisposed
Predisposition.
predispositioned to go to that anger? And I don't
Hmm.
want that because that sucks. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like being that person. Like, even
But you
inside
recognize
here, when
that.
all the,
You recognize that, and that's a
yeah,
win, brother. Take that win
well,
and put it in your hat, man. You know how many people
well,
go
for
to anger as a default and they don't know how to stop it or don't even recognize that they're doing it? You got it. Now keep going.
yeah, no, I get it because I find myself there, but I was given a gift, I think, by God on that day. He put someone directly in front of me who had followed the
Hmm.
path that I was going down, and it didn't end in like glory. Now, this person wasn't an alcoholic. This person didn't have addictions. This person didn't have all these kinds of things. He was just, you know, he was able to do all the things he needed to do. But I knew I wouldn't survive if I was stuck in place in anger. That was the one thing that pushed me to kind of be better. I also, there's a lot going on, but anyways, like I
It
was able
opened
to
your
meet
eyes.
someone. It did. And it was kind of like a warning shot over my shoulder. It's like this is where you are right now.
Hmm.
Because I was funneling the anger right back at him. Like we were bonding on anger. You know what I mean? Like bonding. And by the end of it, he's calling me brother, I'm calling him. I mean, we're like
Yeah.
steeped in anger. But then when I walked away from it and I'm processing, I'm talking to Kate what we talked about, like it dawned on me. I was like, is this gonna be like my anger buddy? Is this gonna
Right.
help me? Um, all this kinds of stuff. And
It's great that
yeah,
it presented itself. because and
Yeah.
it's, I think it's great that you guys had that bonding part. You guys got to talk things out of your head. You got to feel a little bit better about it. Um,
Yeah.
I think the only thing is to then look for the silver lining part afterwards, and
Yeah.
like you said, like I don't want to keep going the negative, the anger side. I want to bounce
Yeah.
back from that more, and recognizing that. Had he recognized that he was using anger improperly, or do you think he kept being
I don't
angry?
know. I don't know what was going on. I do know that for a long period of time, I was a bit of a chest thumper. You know what I mean? Like I would be like, this shouldn't have happened to me, blah 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 blah. And it was my way of kind of like shielding myself in a way. Like you're not going to tell me that I was wrong in the situation if I'm casting them as the villain and all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? Like
Mm-hmm.
for a long period of time, you're looking for company in anger. You're like looking for someone to look across at and be like, you're angry too. I get it. Let's go.
Right.
Someone to come together with. Um, but my responses to getting angry and handling kind of stuff like Dirty Harry initially drove, you know, that was like drinking for me. If I was pissed off or, I'd drink, kind of Dirty Harry it. And it worked, to tell you the truth, for a long time. But when your
Well,
body
we all
decides
serve
that,
something.
you know,
You were serving alcohol. I've been serving alcohol and probably some other things. But now we're trying to serve something more positive for us in our hearts and our spirits and our minds. But I heard another good
for
one.
sure.
You kept saying like his wound was still fresh, even though it had been 10 or 20 years. He
Yeah.
got triggered really easily. Some really smart guy on Facebook was explaining the open wound of trauma can last forever, and when you touch it, it hurts, and it can trigger things.
Hmm.
But you have to remember, the trigger is only a small part of the gun, and you need a lot of other things to make that gun work besides just the trigger. We know how guns work a little bit, well, because we've used them several.
Hmm.
We have training in them.
Yeah.
You have to have a barrel. You have to have the hammer, the pin. You have to have ammunition.
Yeah.
So all of those components make up the gun. So don't let the trigger just go ahead and fire the gun. Be aware, as you are, that you were going straight to anger and that you remove that ammunition or you take the
Yeah.
firing pin out of the gun. So when the trigger gets hit, it doesn't fire off and you don't go straight to negativity and anger.
I like it. I
I
think
think
it's also
I
important to
ad-libbed a
distinct.
lot of that because I don't remember exactly what he said, and he was far smarter than I am, but it felt
No,
apropos to this conversation or germane to this
I get it.
conversation.
And to a person who doesn't have trauma, they don't understand the idea that something that's old could still sting as bad as the first day.
Right. Well, I
So
like that other
they,
analogy we used last week. It's vinegar in your water or piss in your water. It's not going to go away no matter how much sugar you put on top of it until you deal with that vinegar that's in the water or that piss that's in the water. Filter it out. Filter it out,
yeah.
then start putting sugar in your water, and it's going to start tasting sweeter. And then the trigger won't be as intense, maybe, or it'll at least
Mhm.
remove the ammunition. So, like I said, the trigger gets hit and the gun doesn't fire at least.
Another thing I've heard about those sore spots, those triggers, those wounds is, oh shoot.
So, sorry I interrupted you.
No, it's that if you keep, so having to do with resentment, having to do with, which is re-experiencing the trauma, going over it again and again, you're not allowing the wound to heal. You keep
Yeah.
messing with the scab.
Hmm.
And until you can learn to stop messing with it and move on, which is easier said than done. Easier said than done, because it's like it's not a choice for me. It's
Hmm.
like there's times where I'll end up in coming out of being like triggered, and I'll be like, what happened? And I'll even sit down with Kate. I'll be like, what? And again, don't think I'm like running around every day getting like crazy triggered. It does happen though once in a while. And I'll
Yeah.
have to like rewind and sit down and be like, what happened? And it can be a whole series of things. It could be like I'm going to travel soon and I don't realize how much that's stressing me out. I've got a doctor's appointment. I need my meds filled. I need, like, there's all these little things going on that I think aren't bothering me. And then at the end of the day, I end up, I don't know, in a
It's
bad
it's
spot.
it's just the last little pebble in a pile of pebbles that starts to get too heavy, and it just
Yeah.
breaks what's holding it, and it pulls that scab right off that wound. It starts to bleed
Mm-hmm.
again a little bit, not as bad as the first time, but it starts to bleed a little bit again, and then you got to address it. You got to put some, you got to put some antibiotics on it. You got to clean that wound out. You got to put some gauze on it and a band-aid on it. You got to. It takes effort.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to
It takes
treat it.
effort.
Yep.
But that's that
Yeah.
purposeful action that we were talking about earlier. Don't just walk around in circles and do anything. Just at least make a purposeful action, and an
Yeah.
educated guess on the right way to go.
Yeah. And then learn from that. If it didn't work,
Yeah.
then that's not the right way. And
Right.
then there's something that what did the light bulb guy say when he was like, how did you fail 100 or 1,000 times? He's like, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I just learned not how to make a light bulb. So
Yeah.
he was able to kind of like
999 times I
reverse
learned
engineer.
how not to make a light bulb.
Yeah. So you basically like reverse engineer what you're going to make by failing. Well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Let's try this way. Let's try this way. So you're like working it kind of from angles. So
Very Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team or his junior high basketball team, right?
Yeah.
His freshman year or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got cut. Yep. He was failing. Michael Jordan was a failure at basketball at one point.
Yeah.
Let that sink in for a second. If you think you can't do something and you're a failure, Michael Jordan was a failure at basketball at one point. What did he do about it? He cry? He say, I should just be better? I don't deserve this? No, he went to work. He went to work.
Exactly.
He put in the effort. And he became the best basketball player, LeBron. He became the best basketball player. I'm just kidding. I don't really have a dog in the fight between who's the best basketball player, but I thought that was funny to throw that out there.
Well,
I loved watching Michael Jordan. He was just, God.
That was the golden age.
Yeah.
The golden age.
Him, Scottie Pippen, Dennis. I loved Dennis Rodman too. I'm not gonna lie. The Worm was one of my guys to watch.
The rebounder.
Yeah, or just all his antics. I mean, some of them were kind of like, you probably shouldn't do that. It's kind of embarrassing, but I don't know. I was younger and I kind of dug it. I wanted to be that kind of guy. I wanted to be a cocky little, kind of guy like that and mess with people and get in their heads and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Playing pool, I would do that. Playing whatever. But fail. Don't be afraid to fail. You got to try.
Absolutely.
You got to try something new. Don't be afraid of failure when you do it.
So what is your plan, sir, for the rest of the day as you sit next to the lake?
As I sit next to the lake, I wish I could. My phone's on the charger. I don't think I can really show it to you. Well, I can. It's been on this whole time. I've been a little stay charged. Here is the lake. Can you see it?
We can. Looks
we got some toys out there.
Do you got a little dock right there? Yeah.
Yeah. We're using that little dock. Got some toys on it, some wave runners, some inflatables.
What was wrong with the wave runner?
Okay, it's got a faulty what is it? IVR. It's a braking reverse system on it on the left side. So the reverse bucket's going down and getting in the way of the jet when you're trying to go forward, and so it sounds like something's stuck in the intake. So it goes, and it won't go.
Yeah.
Sometimes that means something is actually clogged in there. And when we were at Coconuts, I was able to override that system. I looked up how to do it, and then the bucket's supposed to get out of the way, so you can actually like get your hand in there real quick to get something if it's stuck in there out of there. You gotta be careful because it can close on you. But I did that, and there's a lot of debris that came out on the lift that it was on. So I thought it was debris at that point. But it's doing it again now, and it's doing it when we're out on the water and we're not even by any debris. I mean, we're in really deep water out by the main cove, jumping some waves, and all of a sudden it happens. So that means it's probably it's a faulty item in there. I called my the Sea-Doo
Yeah.
guy in here to across the street. I just went and got a cotter pin from him yesterday. I called him again, and he said, "Yeah, what year is it?" I told him. He goes, "Yeah, those go out on those pretty bad." He goes, "The problem is the manufacturer ones are like way behind, back ordered, and I'm probably not going to get one the rest of this summer for you. But I have a used one I could put on there." So I'm going to try to get it over there to him and let him put that used one on there so we can enjoy it for the rest of the summer. And then at the end of
Yeah.
summer, before we put them up and winterize them, I'll just trail them both over to him and let him give them like a little inspection and winterize them and all that kind of stuff. And if it needs the new one put on, he can schedule that. But if the used one works, we'll just use it until it breaks again or something. But
Yeah.
so I just
Yeah.
gotta go out and fix some problems still. It's a daily thing out here at the lake, and it is what it is. But I mean, it's just a small price to pay, really, just to sit there in the sun, soak in the water, and relax. And it's peaceful, it's serene. It feels like you're recharging your batteries. You're around nature. You're grounding yourself. All of those things are such good pluses, and it's worth a few little hassles here. But I mean, they're just things. They break.
Yeah.
They can be fixed.
Yeah. Just be present. You know what I
Just
mean?
be now.
Just
Now is
yeah.
never going
Just
to
be
happen
now.
again. Well, that was a line
Man.
from Troy. Brad Pitt said that when he was like, the gods envy us because we get to live in the now.
Uh,
And we
that's a
are,
good
we have
character.
all of these things. I think I chopped it up, but yeah, I think I chopped it up.
No.
But anyway, it's still a good point to live by. Just live in the now. Don't think about yesterday. The past is gone. It's already over with. You can't change it.
Yeah.
Look at it once or twice just to try to learn from it, but don't hold on to it. Stay in the now. Make some plans for
Sometimes
tomorrow so you're prepared for it, but don't think about it so much that you lose now.
yeah. Sometimes it's so hard for me to stay in the now because my brain's like always going in. It comes up with some
Yeah.
crazy stuff. You know what I mean? I'll literally sometimes like I'll have to pinch myself or like do something like right here in the now to kind of like bring me back because I live sometimes in this world of like make believe, I don't know, head injuries and like all this kind of stuff. But there's like weird things that happen, people I've never seen, conversations I've never had, like all kinds of just it's like a movie playing that's a compilation of everything I've ever seen in my whole life. I don't know what it is, but if I can just get present and if I can just get
Yes.
quiet, you know what I mean? Just listen to what's happening instead of listening to what's going on in my head just for 30 seconds, it can shift you. You're like, oh, I feel so much
Listen to what is
better.
actually happening. Don't listen to all the things that could happen that you think about in your head. Though that's the ball
There
of
it is.
variables that you want to avoid. Because I do
Yeah.
the same thing. That's part of that 10-minute channels of 3 million channels that I go through, like we talked about in the last week. Uh,
Yeah.
Reduce that, cut that in half a little bit, like that. Okay, these are ridiculous. That these many variables probably aren't going to happen. So let's just put those on a shelf and stop thinking about it. Let's think about the 2 or 3 that really could happen, and let's address a plan for both. And then let's go be now and just deal with it when it happens.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
you'll do it. I'm here for you to help you. You're here to help me with it. It's great, man. It's been great
These
talking to
help me
you.
a lot. Yeah.
I think
These
so
help me
too.
a whole lot.
We had one week where I didn't talk because I was at golf tournament and you did the interview with one guy that I guess has that already aired? That one hasn't aired yet, I don't think. But personally, not seeing
Not
you
yet.
for that week, I think affected me a little bit. Like you are my buddy system right now. I've got plenty of buddies. Don't get me wrong, there, and some of them check on me all the time since we've been talking about this, which I think is uncanny as well. Before we recorded that buddy system checkup from last week that just released today, actually real time. Um,
Yeah.
that week beforehand, I was having some things come up. I was handling them pretty well, and then that Saturday, it didn't happen very well. But Friday, Thursday, and Wednesday, I got buddy checks from like 3 or 4 different buddies that I don't talk to very on a regular basis all the time. And they're like, no, I'm just on my way to work, but I'd call you and check on you. And I realized that on Sunday, after that Saturday breakdown, before I called you, I was like, man, those buddies were checking on me before I had this breakdown, before I went to a really dark space. And I think if I wasn't a little bit better prepared like I can be right now, if I wasn't as prepared as I can be right now, and if I hadn't made some promises that I've made, I might have done something stupid. And so it just made me think, like, was it out there in the world that I was going to have this day already? Was it already out there spiritually with my network, my friends' network, my buddy network, that they could already feel like I could have a bad day and they needed to check on me? And they did so 2, 3, 4 days before I had this bad day. And that is just awesome.
It's
That is the
nice to know
only
there's
word for it.
yeah. It's magical to know that there's things actually going on behind the scenes.
It's proof that there's
You
things
know?
going on. It proves to me. That proves to
Yeah.
me that just puts a nail in the coffin over my faith that this is all the right stuff and the right paths. And I got one more for you before we let you go, because I know we're getting ready to wrap up.
Yeah, no problem.
Just now, this morning, I did the Wave Runner ride to kind of by myself to clear my mind, be ready for talking with you today. Think about some of the things I want to talk about.
It was funny when I texted you really quick. I'm like, hey, and I was talking about an episode coming up. Are you available? And you sent me a picture of you on the fucking jet ski. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, I was like, come play with me. I'm out here on the jet ski. And I also just posted it. I posted on my Facebook just right before we started recording this too, how far I had gone and how fast it took me to get back here from there. Because I went really slow out that direction, looking at things, memory lane. Went by a buddy's house, found out where he actually lives now. So he was supposed to come down today. He had some problems, so he didn't make it. But I was able to see that. And then I went over to this bridge area that I've passed many times. And I looked at the clock and I said, okay, I've been out for almost 2 hours now. I better start getting back so I could take a shower and be prepared for this podcast at 1. I don't want to mess up and miss. So I'm just going to go as fast as I can back. And I got back this way in like 20 minutes, under 20 minutes. And I posted the map. I posted the map about how far I had gone. Anyway, I used a lot of gas, and I know that everybody wants to use it sometimes, so I decided I would gas it up one last time before I brought it home. And my arms are like jello. I can barely, move my arms. You see me rubbing my forearm a couple times while we've been talking. And I asked the dock girl, is it okay if I just sit here on the dock for a second after you fill up? I want it to cool down. I want to check the oil. I don't want to cool down. I want to chug a water. I want to reapply some sunscreen because I can feel my arms burning inside and out. And she's a real nice young lady and all that. She's like, yeah, sure, I like having company. I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, what's the plan for today? She goes, well, I got all my chores done at the store, so I'm probably just going to lay out and get sun in between gassing up the vehicles. I said, what a tough job. You're just gonna, sit here and get some sun, and some old perverts, flirt with you some too. Thanks for me, sorry, I might have no filter. It comes out, and she's like, no problems. You're not bothering me. And I'm like, thanks for making an old guy feel comfortable. And then I go check the oil. I made a couple more posts on like Snapchat or something, and then it dawned on me all of a sudden. I heard my wife's voice in the back of my head going, "This poor girl is all by herself at the end of a dock. And now this creepy old guy is sitting at the table with her." And so all of a sudden I went, I just realized I could be making you uncomfortable because you don't know me. And I'm gonna go ahead and go just because you're here by yourself and I don't know how you're thinking or whatever. And she took off her glasses and she looks at me and she goes, I would tell you. And you haven't done anything wrong. You seem like you have a very joyful aura about you, kind of thing. She said something to that effect. I just want to know you haven't bothered me at all. And I don't feel threatened in any way. I don't feel unsafe in any way. And I looked at her, I was like, wow, I felt like you really just saw me. Thank you for that. Thank you for that response. And she said, absolutely. And so then I shared with her a little bit about the podcast and the silversmith story and the glove story. And I said, go check it out if you find any interest in it. But how old are you? She goes, 20. I go, you're 20 years old and you have the presence of mind and the frame of reference to address the issue the way that you did is so mature. I'm very proud of you for that. That's awesome. So have a blessed day. I'll get out of your hair now. And I left.
Yeah, you could be on a video right now of her being like, creeper on the dock.
Yeah, and maybe I still am. I don't know. Maybe she's like, I got to be nice to this guy because who knows? But it also reminded me and it kind of refreshed my spiritual awareness a little bit because, and I think I talked about it on the podcast. If I didn't, I know I at least told you. since we've been doing the podcast, and I'm trying to reconnect spiritually with the universe, with Jesus, all of those things, and be more of a better person, and share more love and have more love come from me. I went to a couple strip clubs with a buddy during his bachelor party a couple months ago. And
Mhm.
I tell you, first off, going to strip club sober, horrible, horribly different experience.
Yeah.
Second off,
It's like going on during the day on like Sunday or Monday.
no, I don't know. I just see everybody acting the way that they're acting, and I know I acted like that
Yeah.
before, but I'm not acting like that now because I don't really have the same frame of mind that I had when I used to go. And I'm only here because I'm the best man, and I got to make sure he's taken care of and having fun. So I just bought like one beer, drank it, filled it up with water, and just walked around with my beer bottle. But
Right.
like everybody kind of treated me differently. Like I felt kind of shunned by a lot of the girls, the bartenders, and everybody. Like so I just went and sat by
Because you weren't
myself.
drinking.
It could be, but what if it's because I'm showing more love and Jesus's love and image from him as in my aura coming about me, and this is in a place where it's a little bit more. I don't want to say ungodly because I'm sure there's a lot of Christians that do it. I'm not judging. I'm not trying to judge, but it just made me
Mhm.
feel like they could see that change in me, and I was no longer, just this lustful human being that likes to come to strip clubs and throw out money at them.
Right.
And maybe that was the problem too. I don't know. But then when she said that at the dock, that she could just got that sense about me, if that was true and she really meant it, that means a great deal to me because that means that it's working. That
Yeah.
I am being the glove, and the Holy Spirit can move through me and share that love and comfort and give that peace and tranquility to people around me in my presence. If that's
Yeah.
true, that is, again, that's all glory to him because that's not me. That's him coming through me, if that's what's happening. And I'd like to think that it is.
Yeah. And we have to understand, and I tell my wife this sometimes because her work ethic is like out of control. You put her next to somebody, she's going to outwork them. You know what I mean? And what happens in that situation in a work environment, usually that other person, not usually, but they can get upset. You know what I mean? They can either think the person's cheating. How is this happening? I can't keep up with this. This isn't fair. All this kind of stuff. And I had to remind her that because for a second there, she's like, should I not be working the way I do? And I go, honey, all I know is on a daily basis, you shine bright. You carry joy,
Oh,
carry
yeah.
mercy, you help people. But what happens, unfortunately, for those who shine, you cast light in places of people's lives that they're trying to keep dark.
Ooh.
And unfortunately, that can cause a negative response or a stir in
Mm-hmm.
them that makes them think of themselves. And however it works, I'm sure, different for
That
everybody. But I know
emotional
I've been caught
frequency.
in, yeah, I've been caught in envy. I've been caught in like all these different things. And I just have to remind her that, like we were talking about Michael Jordan, when Michael Jordan, was going to play basketball, like, it him with like Kobe's work ethic, Jordan's work ethic, all it was is like they were going to play their absolute best. And the main thing was they didn't care what anyone else thought about it. A lot of the
Yes.
times Kobe and Michael Jordan's teammates did not enjoy being on the same team, especially Kobe, because Kobe would outwork you to your face. He would show up 2 hours before practice, before the brand new guys were there. And then
Yeah.
he'd be there 2 hours after practice, after the brand new guys were there, and calling them straight to their face, being like, you're not working hard enough.
Right. And then he also said something that was really poignant to me, I believe. He doesn't get nervous before games because he knew he already done everything that he could do to be prepared to go
Yeah.
into that game. Now that is a place
Yeah,
to
he was
be,
talking about
isn't
that.
it? Isn't that a
Yeah, he
mentality
was
place
talking
to
about
be?
that's
Go
the
ahead.
Mamba mentality. He calls
Yeah.
it the Mamba mentality. But he's like, I remember that. He's like, how am I going to miss that shot when I practiced that shot a million times?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I know that shot. Give me the ball. I know the shot. Like he was just that kind of guy. What else would he do? He did a couple other things that were just like mind blowing. full commitment to winning. I think one of them was when he was playing for the USA and one of his teammates was on an opposing country. And one of the first things he said he was going to do is if the pick showed up on him, he was going to run, and he knew his teammate would be setting the pick. He was going to drop his shoulder and put it right through the guy's chest, which he did. He didn't he didn't care that in 2 months they'd be back on the same team playing. He was playing for USA. He was going to win. Let's go. You know what I mean?
And he was an amazing basketball player to watch as well. And so my earlier comments about Jordan was not to put any shade on Kobe. That's for darn sure.
No. I was just saying that by those players playing
I'm just putting it out there in the universe for anybody watching that thinks Kobe was better than Jordan. I couldn't argue against that, really, if that was your take. But
what I mean is like, where was I going with that?
It's okay. You said something else that reminded me of something. I love how we go back and forth with these things. This one's really quick.
That's
and
it
was advice. What advice would you give? An interviewer asked somebody, and I can't remember his name. Big black, lots of black hair, big bushy black beard. Usually wears his hat backwards. I'm not even familiar with a lot of his content, to be honest, or his name, obviously. But an interview asked him if the internet wiped away all of your books, all of your tweets, all of your comments, and you wanted to leave the world with just one bit of advice for 30 seconds, what would you say? And he thought about it for a second, and he said, find out what you want. Don't listen to other people's opinions about it. Put out so much volume that it would be impossible to fail.
Yep.
Or to not succeed.
Yeah. like basically the presence.
I think he was more of a business
person, like this isn't going away. Yeah. I get it.
But the main point is decide what you want. I mean, that's the biggest one. Decide what you want in all things, not just jobs and stuff like that. What is it you want to do today? Well, this is what I want to do today. Well, in that case, don't let outside distractions stop you from doing what you want to do. Cut off that outside. I mean, like if you want to hear some of the opinions to see if you need to change your direction a little bit, that's fine. But if you get any negative stuff, like don't do that. Nobody does that. You know who succeeds at things? The idiot that doesn't know he's not supposed to try something.
Right. The one who actually is able to stay within their own head and focus on what they're doing compared to like, what is everybody else seeing? Like,
I'm too dumb to know that I'm not supposed to do this, so I'm gonna go try to do it, and then I succeed at it. But nobody else is able to succeed at it, kind of thing.
Yeah. I love it.
I love you, brother, man. I love this
right now.
I know. We can keep going and keep going, but we'll have another hour in no time. I think we've done enough for today. I think we've got enough positively out there today. I know it's helped me today. I hope it helps you today, and I hope it helped at least one person listening whenever they listen to this. So, yeah. Want to wrap it up? You do your little wrap-up thing, or?
No, I was just going to say, with love, guys, we appreciate all your comments. We appreciate your participation. We've got merchandise coming soon. We're going to be wearing the shirt shortly. And who wouldn't want a shirt that says Survivor across the front and then Shit Creek Survivors on the back? I think that's a good idea for a shirt. If anyone out there has any better ideas, you let us know. Check us out on Facebook, SHT Creek Survivors. They wouldn't let me put the exclamation point in. Then we've got YouTube, Shit Creek Survivors with the exclamation point, and Spotify and all other platforms are the true name as well. So keep listening, keep watching, keep sharing, keep subscribing. We've got a lot more subscribers. That's awesome, guys. It's so exciting to see people all across the country, the world actually subscribing. So really, really cool stuff. And until next time.
We're making some noise. It's exciting. How's this going to go? Yeah, until next time.
Till next time. We love you. Bye.
Love you, brother. Love you all.
For more content, check us out at www.shitcreeksurvivors.com. You can check us out at SHT Creek Survivors on Facebook, and you can check us out at SH!T Creek Survivors on YouTube. Thank you so much.